All right, I got a half-size Itzik out there right at 300 yards. I'm going to hold over 1.3. I'm going to favor to the right at the 8-mile-an-hour wind dot. Pretty strong right to left, I can see. Let's send it. Ooh, yeah, we're not shooting this one. Now that said, if you're interested in cool, unique, one-of-a-kind firearms, then stick around and enjoy this video. Is this the rarest rifle on YouTube? I don't know. You'll have to answer that for me. But from what I can tell, this will be the only video on YouTube of this particular rifle. So join me and let's take a look at what we got. Hey there, and welcome back. Got a pretty cool video in the works here for you. It's going to be a little bit different from what I'm normally doing with my long-range shooting type videos, but I still think it'll be really cool and entertaining for you because it's along the same lines. So I found myself fairly recently with the opportunity to purchase a really cool, and what I found out was really rare rifle. But before we get into that, I want to tell you briefly, I was able to put together an Instagram for the channel. I'd love it if you'd go follow me there. So my Instagram is Mountains Mullets America, all one word. I'll put a link in the description so you can go find me on Instagram, because I'd love it if you'd follow me there. My plan there is to engage with you, drop pictures, give you an idea of what I'm up to when I'm out shooting, that kind of stuff. So I really plan to make the Instagram something that's pretty cool and a fun place for us to get together and chat. So I'd love it if you'd follow me on Instagram. And then if you love this kind of content, please subscribe, share, like. I want to build some awareness of this channel and grow this channel into something really cool. And what does that is engagement from the audience. So I originally said I'm not going to shoot this rifle, but I started thinking, you know, I will shoot this rifle if the audience is into it. So if you're into it and we get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, I'll put together a video and I'll shoot this rifle. I'll do a review on it or something like that. And then I also thought the number of likes that are on this video when I get to 1,000 is how far I'll try to shoot the rifle. So if we get 1,000 subscribers, I'll shoot it even though it's crazy rare. And say it gets 1,200 likes, I'll shoot at 1,200 yards. If it gets 1,500, I'll try to shoot at 1,500 yards. We got all kinds of space out here, so if we blow this up with likes, man, I'll give it my best to stretch it out. So kind of a call to action there for the audience. Would love to grow this channel and would appreciate your engagement. Now, that said, what have I got in store for a rifle? Just a second. Here she is. So you're probably looking at this thinking, man, that's just an SR25. That's a Knights Armament. We've seen 1,000 of those on YouTube. And to some extent, you'd be correct. But the details are in it. There's more here than meets the eye. Now, what makes this rare, it's a factory Knights Armament Mark 11 Mod 1. Now, if you're like me, when you first saw this rifle, when you first hear Mark 11 Mod 1, you probably never heard that before. You're probably not even sure what that is. It took a little research on my side to understand what this rifle was and why it commanded the price that it did. So before I move into the rifle specs, I want to tell you kind of a cool story about how I found this rifle, because I think that's what makes this half as cool. And we've all heard the story, you know, that gun shop find. Well, that's what happened on this rifle for me. This is probably a one-of-a-lifetime purchase for me, and the story is what makes it. So I grew up, Global War on Terror, that M110 is a really cool, iconic rifle, always wanted one. The path to get to an M110 is buy a crazy expensive kit or buy a rifle that's no longer in production, pay a premium, and have it converted. Neither one of those were great options. I didn't like really either one. So always wanted one, but wasn't sure how I'd get to one. I've got other SR25s that you've seen. I enjoy shooting them, so I was content. Well, I moved out west about 4 years ago. I stroll into a local gun store, and I see this rifle in a vertical rack. This M110 flash hider catches my eye. So I spin it around. I look at the rifle. I don't know what it is. I see this flash hider. I'm like, well, that's cool, but why is this thing so crazy expensive? So I go on about my day or whatever. Well, I keep coming back for like a couple years. And finally, they dropped the price on this rifle. They dropped it by several $1,000s, and that gets my attention. So I'm thinking, man, what is this rifle? Why has it been here so long? Because at this point, I know it's been here in Washington for at least 3 years that I've been coming around. So I asked him to pull it out of the case. I get the serial number, and I see this thing's marked Mark 11 Mod 1. So I go home, I send the serial number off to Knights Armament, and they confirm it is a factory Mark 11 Mod 1, and it was built in July 2009, and it was sold October 2011. Well, go back to the gun store, they've got a paper trail to back all this up. So I know at that point this is a factory Mark 11 Mod 1, and I've got a paper trail all the way back to when this thing was built in 2009 through when it came out here to Washington. So I get online, I start Googling, I find literature on this, and I understand there's only about 50 of these, 40 to 50 of these Mark 11 Mod 1s that have made it into civilian hands. It was a limited run. They actually used kind of extra parts from a military build they did, Knights did. So extremely rare rifle. Is it the rarest on YouTube? I'm not sure. Maybe someone out there can correct me. It's probably not. But is this the only video on YouTube of a factory Mark 11 Mod 1? I'm going to say yes, because I've done quite a bit of research on these, and I have not run across anything. No YouTube videos, very little information on Google. There's a couple posts on the forums. There's some flyers that are out there I'll try to put in this video so you can see it. But man, this thing is extremely rare. From what I can tell, about 50 of them out there in civilian hands. And this one's got the paper trail to back up where it came from and what it is. Now that said, what is a Mark 11 Mod 1? So we all know the Mark 11 Mod 0, which was kind of the original precision SR-25 that had widespread military use. That used a barrel that had no flash hider. It used a different rail assembly, the RAS instead of the URX. It had some different features, kind of old school features in the lower receiver. It did run a fixed stock. Well, then military says, hey, we want widespread adoption. We move into the M110. And the M110, you get the M110 flash hider, you get the URX rail, and you get some different features on the lower now, some of the ambi type controls. Now the Mark 11 Mod 1 was never an official military designation. It's a commercial designation that Knights released, but in the military we went from the Mod 0 to a Mod 2 and an M110. The Mark 11 Mod 1 was kind of just nomenclature that some of the Marine Corps threw around, but was never actually officially designated. So you won't actually find a Mark 11 Mod 1 in military service, from what I can tell. Maybe there's Knights historians out there that can correct me, but from what I can tell, it never was an actual military designation. This rifle does represent a rifle that was used in the military kind of as a hybrid. It's a hybrid between a Mod 0 and an M110. So basically it's got a Mod 0 lower with an M110 upper. That's what this is. So Mark 11 Mod 1, it's got the 20-inch, from what I understand in the commercial release, this should be an Obermeyer stainless barrel, but there's a couple different pictures. This may just be a chrome moly M110 barrel. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. M110 flash hider, URX rail. It's got the flip up front sight, but on the front sight, instead of running the push button, it's got an older school kind of hex nut, which I understand is one of the original features. It does run an M110 gas block. The military type rifles run a different style flash hider. I understand they had a hex on them versus this traditional M110 style. But either way, this is not exactly a clone really of anything. It is a limited civilian release rifle, which makes it rare. On the lower, this is kind of an old school SR-25, so there's no ambi bolt release, there's no scallop safety, old school fixed stock. Man, this thing has mid-2000s written all over it with the Picatinny fixed stock, none of the ambi controls. It does have an ambi mag release, so it does have that, but the scope I put on this just for the video, just to kind of complete the look for you. I understand the military, when they were using this type rifle, would have used a Schmidt & Bender optic on it, from what I can tell. I had the Night Force, I dropped it on for this. Not actually going to shoot it today. Now suppressor, this is kind of cool. So the Mark 11 Mod 0 ran its own suppressor. Well, the Mark 11 Mod 1 runs an M110 can. Now this is why I've had this rifle over a year and haven't put it on the channel or haven't taken it out or anything. So in order to complete the M110 package, I had to have the M110 can. So I buy this right after I buy the rifle a little over a year ago, put in a paper form, wait my year, and now I've got it. So kind of funny. The rifle came in a cheap plastic case, so I can't really do an unboxing, but the can I can, because it cracks me up. So super flashy packaging. Pop the plastic cap off, slide the can out. This is what you get with an M110 suppressor from Knights. You get the can, cardboard sleeve, and that's it. So the FDE can is correct. You can see it mounts just like an M110, slides over, drop the gate latch, and now we're suppressed. So this would have been correct for that 2006, 2007, 2008 time period there, where there was some transitioning going on. Now the internals of this rifle, I'll pop it open just quick. You can see it's clear. Old school SR-25 bolt group. So sand cutter, she never heard of her. Dual ejectors, never heard of her. I mean, this is old school SR-25 bolt group right here, but I'm sure it'll get the job done. Now on the lower, you'll probably notice I'm running a flat trigger. So I actually swapped this out for a Geisley SDE, which I prefer. It came with a Knights trigger, which was kind of cool and unique. It had a split like sear assembly. I'd never seen that before. Took that out. I've still got it. Put the Geisley in it just because I prefer that. So now what else came with the rifle? So it came in the cheap plastic case, but there's some other accessories in here that I thought were pretty neat. So came with a Knights 20 round mag. It came with a, let's save that piece of paper. Sorry, a little bit of wind out here. It came with the military operator's manual. So you can see in the ops manual, it is a Mark 11 Mod 0, M110 Mark 11 Mod 2, which that would have been the Navy designation for this, what I understand. So military operator's manual, information on zeroing the front sight, and they gave you a target here for zeroing the front sight. So some front sight type stuff. Won't be using any of that. Then everybody knows the Knights rifles for coming with test targets. So you can see this one came with a test target, 5 rounds, 0.806 inches. So sounds like she'll shoot if I get a chance to, depending on how many subscribers we get. And then one of the coolest things I think with this rifle is it came with a logbook. So Mark 11 Mod 1, it's got the serial number. You pop the logbook open and it gives you a history of what the rifle has fired. Now, obviously it's only been fired at Knights Armament so far. In August 2009, they put 59 rounds through it. And then October of 2011, I assume right before it shipped, they put 60 rounds through it. So total, this rifle has had 119 rounds through it. So from what I understand, researching these Mark 11 Mod 1s, it was normal for Knights to put that many rounds through these Mark 11 Mod 1s before they shipped out. So, man, from what I can tell, this was a super cool kind of gun store find. You know, you walk in, you hear it all the time on the internet. It legit happened to me. And I think I got a really cool rifle here. Doesn't get me an M110, but it completes my goal of what I wanted, which was an M110 type rifle. So if you stuck around this far, I assume that means that you're a fan of the channel. You're a fan of cool stuff like this. I really appreciate it. I would love it if you would subscribe. Like I mentioned, I will shoot this thing if we get to 1,000. And if we get a ton of likes, I'll shoot it to whatever distance we get to. So appreciate you sticking around. Appreciate you engaging with my channel. Follow me on Instagram. And I look forward to you following me in future videos. So thank you.